Hi, I'm Martin Roberts. I'm here with Nicholas Wallwork, and we're doing a series of videos just highlighting some of the opportunities and the things to be aware of when it comes to inhabiting the world of property. The fun world it is too. In this particular video, I really wanted to drill down into the team you need to surround yourself with or by when it comes to construction. So you're into the world of property development now. Who are the people who you are going to have to engage the services of? Now, Nicholas, I know this is something that you've done a lot of. So, more generically, we know about the solicitors and the accountants, but when it comes to actually the construction side of things, who's in your pyramid of help there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good point, actually, and it's good that we're discussing this today on a video because a lot of people see the power team as the, like you just said, the solicitors, the accountants, the bookkeeper, the basic kind of people that get you the deal. Not many people are out there in the industry helping people get past the deal purchasing stage. They'll show you how to find it and source it and all of the rest. But how do you then actually build the blooming thing? That is one of the hardest things to do it right. To do it on time and on budget is really hard. I'm not professing that all of my sites are on time and on budget, far from it. But a good chunk, most of them are. But things do come up in those sites, and it's about overcoming problems. A construction site, however big or small, anyone out there that's ever done a small HMO right through to a big commercial conversion, they'd have felt a little bit of pain at some point on whether the plumbing was not as good as they thought it was, or the electric board needed upgrading, on a smaller scale. On a scale of this kind of stuff we do and that we partner with people on our JV opportunity, we might be talking a 20,000 square foot office conversion, or it might be a 10,000 one, or it might be a care home conversion, which has got some very specific planning knowledge needed to work with even a planning consultant to get through that. Not all planning consultants are experts at doing care home conversions. We've done a few now, and we've got some good knowledge to learn from there, and to make sure we can try and get the next one over the line a little bit easier than someone who's never done it before. But that list that you've sort of intimated, it really is the list of the power team just grows. You could have anything from 3 or 4 consultants through to 20 consultants.
Presumably, I have the option of employing a company who would have those people working for them. And the disadvantage of that, I imagine, is keeping track of the costs, because they will charge you more with that. But if I'm having to employ people, and certainly if I'm employing them, working for me permanently, then surely that the cost of that is going to be really quite high. So, at what point do you need to bring people in house, and what point can you outsource them to a company who could maybe bring all those people together?
Well, to be honest, we moved in our early days. We moved from a full-time in-house project manager, and we've actually outsourced that to a bigger firm now,
Right.
a small medium firm.
Oh, you went that way round.
We went that way round because we didn't want to employ 4 or 5 people that this company can do in-house. It's too much, actually. Yeah. And if I'd done anything differently, I would have gone straight to this style of firm. Contract administrator, project management, QS firm. Right. They have all of those facets in the in the business to deal with a bigger scale project. Plus, they can scale with you. Right. If they've got 3 or 4 project managers in the house, it depends on the size of the firm. But for us at our medium-sized development firm, we only need a few people. Bigger firms that are building 200 tower blocks in the middle of Reading or Manchester, they had an even bigger project management firm. So they can scale far quicker than we could in-house. So actually, I recommend, when you've gone past small-scale refurbs like HMOs and the odd small flat schemes, go for that slightly bigger firm that has quantity surveyors in-house, multiple project managers, in-house expertise that can grow and scale with your business. And they will then work with all of these other consultants that we talked about, list as long as my arm, on a project-by-project basis. For example, one of the sites I'm working on at the moment, it's a mentee client site, and it's a 30,000 square foot office conversion. And we've probably got 15 to 20 consultants on it at a guess. I'll have to check. We've had arboriculturalists, right. We've had groundworking engineers, we've had the M&E, mechanical and electrical, which is the plumbing and electrics for the layperson at home. All these designers, obviously the architects, but people designing internal walls, the fire systems. The automatic opening vents has got a sort of specialist fire department company that advises on that.
You couldn't possibly employ people unless you had a massive firm.
You could.
Who did that level of expertise. And I guess it's just a cost. I mean, it comes down to, this is just a price you have to pay away. And how do you know you're not being ripped off?
I think the key is getting multiple quotes for all the big ticket items.
Right.
You know, and your project management firm, the QS there, has obviously costed up the site before you even go out to tender.
Yeah.
So when you get your tender in for the main contractor might have got multiple quotes for big items. You know, let's say the mechanical electrical design of a big building like that, that's going to go into the tens of thousands. You probably want to get 2 or 3 quotes for that item. So it's just like anything, you know, it's common sense. If it's a big item and you're not sure, get multiple quotes. That'll iron out either the lack of knowledge, or it'll iron out that building. So you've got multiple points of view as to what it's going to cost to build.
Right.
And that kind of is self-managing almost.
And at what point do you know whether or not a project is going to be financially viable? At what point should you have done this? Because obviously you're having to have all these people do all these jobs and things, but it's almost like you want to do that before you've started. So
Yeah.
how can you cost a project or an opportunity to know whether or not it's actually one that's worth embarking on in the first place?
Really, really good question. The answer to that is you only know the full cost right at the end. Right? It's constantly changing. And what happens, you've got, let's say this is the beginning of the site in timeline, this is the end. As you go through it, the costs are going like this. They're increasing, decreasing. So you're trying to decrease costs all over the place. Some are increasing. You know, on a recent site, we had the ground floor slab. This is a 15,000 square foot floor plate. We dug 2 trial pits, didn't find any reinforcement.
No.
Yeah, as soon as we dug the first one for the first drains, huge steel reinforcement throughout the whole floor. We'd picked we'd probably picked the 10% that didn't have rebar in it. And so that was a $100,000 mistake. But 2 trial pits is not a mistake. You can only do your best.
Yeah.
We tried to mitigate that risk and came up against it. Really, an uncomfortable discussion with the client that week. But it is what it is. So that pushed the cost out. Then we pulled it back in.
Right.
But to answer the question a bit more fully, you know on the final account what it costs. At the beginning, you have to start with our knowledge. We will help a client source a site and do our analysis. We'll then maybe make an offer based on that, and maybe an interim half an hour call with the QS. Maybe work out the cost on a price per square foot basis to start with. Right. 10,000 square foot, it's going to cost X, Y, and Z. Then we go and look at the building in a bit more detail. Has it got stairwells, lifts to remove? Yeah. Does it need a new roof? Do the windows need replacing?
And I have to say, a lot of this does come down to experience as well. Because I can walk into a house and go, yeah, it's going to be 20 grand to do that. And it might end up as 21, it might end up as 18. But invariably, I'm sort of right, unless I haven't spotted the reinforcement in the floor.
Yeah.
And I think the more you do, and this is why it's really important to link up with people who do it all the time, is you just kind of have a feeling. And I've worked with people, builders especially, who will just go, no, it's a 65 grand job. Of course it is, mate. And then you get the QS in, you get the people with the memories, blah, 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 they're working it out, and it's 64,220 quid. You go, well, old Bert was right.
Yeah.
So a lot of it does come from experience. But
it does.
You unfortunately, especially if you're applying for finance, then Bert's finger in the air, which we all know is probably right, is probably not going to cut it with the bank manager.
No, the bank managers these days are getting really savvy. They have their own internal project managers and QSs.
Right, yeah.
It's quite scary. And when you get development finance, as part of their drawdown each month, when you say, right, we spent 100 grand this month, we have 100 grand for the bank, their QS looks at our QS's numbers and they have a QS off battle. Who's got the most, are we going to give, because the bank's trying to give you less to protect themselves.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get as much as we can to put, and the builder wants a little bit more, So managing that sort of process can be interesting and challenging at times. But yeah, I guess the message of this video is the list of consultants and power team you need. It only starts when you find a reasonable sized project, and it can scale as big as the project and the needs of the site.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's just a classic example of why you need to be looking at joining forces, and that is something which you might want to consider that Nicholas and I offer. We can join forces with you and help you. If you've got a project you're thinking about, if you've got a development project that you haven't embarked on yet, or you're thinking about, or if it's a world that you want to enter into and you've got maybe cash that would enable you to do that but don't know quite how to get started, that's exactly how we can help you. So you can get in contact with us. There's lots of contact information around the video, and there's lots of other videos in this genre which can potentially help you in your property development journey. Thanks for watching.